Welcome to the Maythorn Monthly, and this month we're in Poland. Is this a good place to be at the moment? Do all the buildings look like this? No, they don't. But it's a little worrying when you look at the map of the area to just see how close we are to Russia, apparently. But actually we're not. It's a port which gave the Russians some access to the sea, and it's still theirs under an agreement reached between the United Kingdom, the United States and the USSR at the end of the Second World War in 1945. So yes, it is Russian territory. It's only a small piece of land and it's pretty useless to them. I'm standing in the middle of a road, so I'm going to move off here. Those buildings are behind me. I don't know if I move around far enough you'll be able to see the other feature around here, which is the big wheel. It's certainly something that gives you great views of the river, and we're in an area here where everywhere is waterways. Apart from the main river, there's lots of sort of other bits of water, and there are bridges needed to get pedestrians across. Those bridges have to go up or they have to swing round to let boats through, so that's something we'll look at later. Right now we are going to look at a piece of history though. We're going to the town hall in the main town, and it's a building we saw last time. It's got this huge spire above it. That is closed. Sometimes of the year apparently you can go right up there, but it's closed, and so we just had a look at the rest of the place. Some fantastic paintings, ceilings and wonderful wardrobes. Really jealous of their wardrobes. Anyway, have a look at the old town hall here in Gdansk. I always seem to get these shots where I'm in a shadow in the dark and all the lights way behind me. Perhaps I like to hide, who knows. This is an apartment block in Gdansk, and it's only actually just a couple of hundred yards from the derelict buildings that we started out with today. And the derelict land and buildings is a temporary thing, I would think, because along the river on this side they are now starting to build these kind of blocks. I think this is the only finished one, but they're working on one just a little bit further along the river, so progress is fast. New apartments turning up all the time. I just hope they can fill them when the time comes. I've come inside the apartment now. The light is less challenging in here, and outside where I was standing on the balcony there's a big courtyard down below where people can just assemble. There's a nice big table and chairs down there. There's several benches that you can sit in the sort of garden area, and there's a big adult swing. Well, we're not just bringing you stuff from Poland this month. Back in the UK, of course, and as you may have gathered if you're watching last month's video, we moved to the middle of the Wirral. Now, if you look on a map of the Wirral, we're very central, and a number of coastal areas are just a few miles away. So this month we're going to visit two of those, West Kirby and Thurston. They both have beaches. West Kirby in particular, we'll start with that. It has a boating lake and a sailing club. And if you're going along the promenade for a little walk and you look out across the River Dee to what you might think is the river, you're actually looking at the lake, and it appears that people are walking in the distance on water, but that's just an optical illusion. So we took a walk along that path, which is between the lake and the river, and you can see that the illusion is actually quite a wide footpath. The River Dee doesn't come in very much, but there is a beached area, there's wildlife, dippers and so on, and it's quite a pleasant walk. That's at West Kirby Marine Lake, and if you are into sailing, of course, there's a sailing club you can join there. Thurston is a different matter altogether. It's a country park. There's a disused railway line that goes right down that side of the Wirral, which has been turned into a walkway and a bridle path, and that's a good bit of walking and cycling that you can do down there. There's a lot of interest in the nature of the place, but Thurston also has a beach. Bit of a climb down the cliff, but once you get there it's worth it. Huge beach, very well spread out. Not many people bother to go down there, so you have a certain amount of privacy. Not many people are going to bother you. Thurston Beach. Recently I was in Newcastle upon Tyne with its 7 bridges, and here now I'm in Gdansk, and I don't know how many bridges it's got. It's not even got the one river, it's got so many different bits of waterways and that it's confusing. The bridge behind me I've just walked across, that carries road traffic and it also carries the tram lines. But not every one of the cities in this area has trams. Up at Gdynia they have trolley buses. Trams need tracks in the road, need metal rails. Trolley buses are the same kind of technology, overhead wires, but they can run on road wheels with tyres, so that's another example. The passenger transport system here is brilliant. I've always admired it, and I just think that everybody should copy this model. Various different kinds of transport, a ticket that costs you a couple of quid to travel all day on any of those trams, buses, trains, whatever, and you just can't beat that. And I love being by all this water as well, so I'm enjoying myself here in Gdansk. So how do you get one of these 24-hour tickets? It's not just a day ticket like we have at home, it's a 24-hour ticket. You can go on any of the trains, buses and trams for 24 hours over the whole Tri-City area, and you just go to a machine at any major tram stop or train station and you switch it to English. Yes, the sort of thing you can't do in England, switch to another language, but yes, the ticket machines here can be switched to English, as can the supermarket checkouts, by the way, if you self-checkout here and in Spain and so on. It's only England that doesn't do these sort of things. So you go to the machine, you select the full 24-hour ticket and you tap your payment card or stick it in and give a PIN, and a ticket comes out that will keep you going around this area for the whole 24 hours. So if you start at midday, you've got till midday the following day. And it's not as though there aren't a lot of trains and trams and things you can catch. There's a tram just going over the bridge beside me now, and there'll be another one in a couple of minutes, I can guarantee it. So great public transport. 14 zloty is between £2.50 and £3, depending when you come and what the exchange rate is. But that's the kind of money that has been coming out at on my bank statement. Brilliant. Whoa! Today I'm returning to the box bike that my friend Neil Smith brought us a couple of months ago.
Bye!
He's got some footage of its very first maiden voyage, leaving his house with young Ollie, and we now bring this up to date by meeting down by the River Dee marshes. It's a 10-mile drive from our mid-Wirral location down to Neston, where you'll find this long cycle track and footpaths running alongside the marshes at the River Dee. The venue we've been to before is Net's Cafe, and this is where we arranged to meet Neil as he brings the box bike along the path with his granddaughter inside.
Hello.
You made it.
Hello, Brian.
Hey.
All right.
Right. Nets Cafe has a car park at the rear, so we're going to use this to road test the box bike, the finished product, complete with passenger and driver. The box bike has been fitted out with seats, with a bit of cushioning and with seat belts. So, I've not ridden a bike for years, but there's people behind me, so I better be careful. You press this button down on.
Press it slowly.
Slowly down. Are you all right, Rosie? I wouldn't trust me if I were you, but there we go. Oh, we're moving. There we go. So I'm going to edge this very gently round. Don't want to tip Rosie out. Ooh, it moves quite quick, and I'm quite unstable on it. Yes, well, I'm not used to being on a bike, whereas Neil, of course, you are a biker. Yes. I think that will do me. The video that I showed you earlier featured Ollie as the little curly-haired passenger in the box. He's got a bit older now. So this is Ollie having a go. He's not done this before either, but he does ride a bike, which gives him an advantage over me. It's very easy to let it run away. It's quite a sensitive little control there. It could go quite fast if you're not careful.
It will, if you don't touch that then, just pedal. Just pedal.
Rosie is now the youngest granddaughter and will soon be growing out of this box bike, so Neil's decided to put it up for sale. Anybody interested, let me know. Right. Well, every time we go to Poland I take my drone with me, and every time I don't come back with any drone footage, and the reason is clear. It's the wind. It's always been windy in Poland. You can't tell these sort of things when you're watching the videos, but the drone can't fly. I've got a very small drone that is very affected by the wind, so I can't use it if it's very windy. And I haven't been able to use it in Poland yet. Never mind. There's always Spain. Right, so yeah, here's a wind turbine. I'm in the Clwydian Hills. I do that now and again, don't ask me why. But I'd like us to go back to Poland and have a look round, even though I've now come home. Some of the things I noticed while I was there, one was that the little sort of one-stop shop supermarket Sabka is everywhere. It's on little street corners, it's built into the bottom of apartment blocks, it's on ordinary shopping streets, and basically everywhere you go you'll find a Sabka, which is similar to our corner shops in that it's not as cheap as the supermarkets, but they're there too. You'll find Aldi, Lidl and Netto are all prominent, and the Carrefour Express gets seen a few times as well. They're sort of similar size to the co-ops that find that way into our towns and villages these days. The other thing which you'll see at the moment, and probably for some time, is a variety of car registrations. I was just walking past a car park one day and looking at the registrations. Now I'm looking at my own car here, it's got GB on it. Most of them of course have got PL for Poland, but there's quite a lot now from the Ukraine, which are UA, and also Belarus, which is BY. There's the usual amount of German cars, not that many, but Germany is a neighbour, so you can easily drive from Germany to Poland. But that's something I noticed which I didn't last time we were there. So I said I'd come back to the bridges across the river rivers actually, in Gdansk, but this is the main river, the Motława, and this is a lift bridge, as you can see. Now it's interesting because it runs to a timetable where it's up for half an hour, down for half an hour, up for half an hour and so on, but at night it changes to an hour, and there are various other options at different times of year. The noises you hear are the alarms. You wouldn't want to be on the bridge when it was going up. It could be rather dangerous. I'm sure it would never happen. So there it is. That's the way that they get boats through and people across the river on this particular bridge. And finally, we're staying with water. We're going to Australia. But first, I haven't forgotten last month, talking about the desk. And I did say I'd show you it working. You did think perhaps what was I talking about, but I did mention it was electric. My wife doesn't even know why it's electric yet, but I'm going to show you just before we go. So this kind of position, I'm going to sit here and edit my videos. After a while, it's not good for your posture, basically. And a lot of people now work standing up, but you don't want to do that all the time. So this is the standing desk. It's got a button on here. I'm going to demonstrate this before we go by pressing the button. And you can see the desk height is adjustable. So this is me now having to strain my neck to look up. In a minute, I better stand up. Yeah, do away with the chair. I keep going up if I want. Oh, that's down. And get this to my standing height. And of course I'm 6 foot, Ruth is 5 foot, so she wouldn't bring it up this high, but that's fine for me. Actually, I want to rest my arms slightly relaxed position. There you go. That's how I'm going to handle it. So Australia for our last thing. As you know, our family moved down there, and this is very actually handy to lean on as well. We saw a pirate ship in Poland. They've got a tiny little pirate ship down there at Mandura. If you look on the map of Western Australia, you'll see that Mandura is about an hour's drive from Perth Airport, and that's the area they live in, One and Up and all those places. And this video is the pirate ship that runs out of Mandura, and also the leisure scene down on the foreshore at Mandura. Colette tells me that there were 3 or 4 groups of musicians the day that she was down there, and so she captured one of them doing a little bit of singing. Now, copyright reasons, we can't actually play the best material to you, but you get a little bit of their singing here and a sense of the atmosphere down on the foreshore.
He's a train a-coming.
Till next month, when we will no doubt be back in Poland, hopefully back in Australia too, the UK, maybe even Spain. We're getting pretty international again now we're allowed to travel.